Some independent schools are reopening for the new academic year, but with a major surge in COVID-19 cases, there's obvious cause of concern. Are independent schools likely to go the e-learning route? eNCA's Tshegohaco Moagi is finding that out, and she joins me now to give us some clarity. Colleague, good to have you and good morning to you. And that's the big question. Will independent schools, go the e-learning route? Do they have a separate calendar as those public schools? What's the latest?
Well, good morning, colleague. Good morning, Tumelo. So we do know that independent schools have actually opened their doors today, but we do know that some of them have decided that schooling will only start next week on the 18th. But to give us details, I'm at Glen Austin Primary School, and the principal will just give us details as to what they have decided to do for this particular year, and obviously what lessons have they learned from last year. I'm joined by Candace Guilford, the principal of Glen Austin Primary School. Candace, thank you so much for your time. So just give us details, how are things going? And you have decided that parents can actually bring their children in today, but schools are actually really, independent schools expected to open next week only.
Yes, that's right. We gave our parents the choice because originally we were going to open today. And, most parents had prepared for that. They have to go to work. A lot of our parents work. They find it difficult for, somebody to look after their kids, educate their kids, especially if they're working from home. So we decided, we put it out to the staff, and they were happy. They're passionate about educating the kids, and they really, really want the kids back at school. So we decided together that we were going to open today. We prepared, we're ready, and we want to educate the kids. So that's why we decided to go ahead and continue with our orientation week and covering our books and stationery and all that at school, so that we don't have to send it home, because if we send it home, it comes back, everything must be sanitized, so it's quite time consuming. That's why, first and foremost, why we decided to continue today. Obviously, unless things change and the president directs schools otherwise, then we will continue with school as normal.
Now, have you had to put in extra COVID-19 measures in place, of course, because of the increase of cases?
We have had to relook at, our class sizes and numbers and extra social distancing measures, screens, which last year we didn't necessarily have because we didn't have a lot of nursery school kids last year. Those parents elected not to bring their kids back. So this year we've got quite a number of kids that have wanted to come back, so we've had to make screens for the desks, and, in our larger classes, particularly foundation phase, we've split the girls and the boys to come on alternate days so that, we're not overwhelmed with the number of kids in the classes. We are a small school, so we only have one class per grade, and some of our grades are quite small, so we're confident that we can manage those numbers, very well.
Yeah, and we do know, of course, that there has been an increase in COVID-19 cases. Have any parents at this stage raised concerns with you about this and what the school is possibly doing to ensure that the teachers and the learners are safe?
We haven't really had very many parents querying that. Obviously, we have some kids that have elected just to wait it out till Monday and see what, what the powers that be decide. But we only really had one parent, I think, that, was just concerned on the children that basically have travelled and how are we going to ensure that, that they're quarantining and things like that. So, only really one parent that's really voiced their concern to us. But I think in general parents are concerned anyway. But they were last year very happy, and I'd like to think they're still very happy with the measures that we've put in place. We've really, really done a lot of sanitizing and, social distancing efforts and everything that was very successful last year. And, like I said, we're confident that we're going to beat COVID at the end.
And if schools do not necessarily reopen, schools are only public schools are expected to open on the 27th of January. And if the powers that be, as you put it, decide that it is too dangerous at the moment for schools to reopen, what is the plan? Do you guys have any e-learning or online learning that you do?
So in our environment, e-learning is very difficult. We do not have, at the school, we don't have fibre. So if we don't have fibre, it's very, very difficult to access online learning. The majority of our learners, more than 80% of our learners probably, do not have access to decent internet connection. So online learning is not really possible for our learners. And how we managed it last year was we did, packs and books and all of that we basically sent home with the kids. And we then made use of WhatsApp. But that was also challenging because a lot of our parents are healthcare workers or essential workers, and they work long hours. So then they come home at night and then, now I have to do schoolwork late at night with the children, which isn't really conducive to learning. So our ideal learning environment is here on the premises. We're not an, remote learning environment. So we definitely prefer to have the children here. And we this week are preparing books and all of that with the learners and all the resources that they need should we have to close school and learn from home. And then we'll just go back to the, the WhatsApp groups and things like that we were doing before.
So what kind of lessons do you think you have learned from last year when schools had to close early and then there was a reopening and then a closure once again?
Sure, it's really very difficult actually to say. It was very tough financially on independent schools in general, I think, specifically smaller schools. And I'm not really sure that the small schools can survive again going forward, because last year we tapped into every available resource we had. So this year we don't have additional resources to tap into. So, but we did definitely learn last year that remote learning doesn't work at the moment. The country, the children, the parents, they're not geared for remote learning. Even our teachers, they don't have decent internet connection at home. Some of our teachers last year, just to attend a Zoom meeting, drove to Boulder Shopping Centre, sat in their car, and then, because it was the only place that they could get decent signal, and they live in Tembisa. So, so that was definitely very, very challenging. Also, data for parents, it's costly. So parents, struggled with the data. But the teachers rose to the occasion. They worked hard, they sent videos, they YouTubed, they did things I think that they never knew that they could do, and they stretched themselves, a lot. And the kids too, the kids rose above the occasion. So I think those are mostly what we can take away from last year. We know that we can do it very successfully, and we'll try, even if we have to close and come back at a later date. We will make every effort to educate the kids.
Yeah, thank you so much, Candice. That is
Pleasure.
Candice Guilford, just giving us details about their way forward this year and, of course, lessons learned that they'll take forward into 2021.